What is going on, everybody? What is going on, D Catch fam? My name is John Dawson, and in today's video, we are hopping right into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. Today, we will be conducting our mock draft through the ESPN platform. This will be an 8-man mock draft with a standard scoring format, trying to change things up a little bit for you guys and get some content out there for those of you who do play in standard scoring formats, as well as maybe leagues with less teams overall. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We put out free daily fantasy football content, and at the moment we are running a free subscriber mock draft nearly every single night here at the channel. We would love to have you in our future subscriber mock drafts. Be sure to join our Discord down below for more information on when we are drafting, and feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below. Without further ado, we are kicking things off in about 10 seconds here. So with that first overall selection, which is where I landed tonight, I'm going to take JT off the clock. There's really no question about it, especially in a standard scoring format. You want the best running back available, in my personal opinion, off the clock as early as possible. So let's take JT. Plus at 1.1 at the moment, it's JT for me or nobody. So I'm happy to take JT off the board there at 1.1. I do think one thing to keep in mind when you are conducting an 8-man draft is that you can take a little bit more of a risk at certain positions like the running back position. You're going to have more options throughout the draft, but just don't forget that the running back position is very, very vital in a standard scoring format, because obviously running backs are going to be scoring a ton of touchdowns throughout the season. So in this specific draft, we've got pick 16 and pick 17 coming up. We can still land some very good players overall, as Cooper Kupp goes at 1.2 and Derrick Henry's off the board at 1.3. So if you look at the running backs who should theoretically be hanging around, I would love to land a James Conner or a Nick Chubb in that area, and then I'll probably go for a receiver as well. Would love to land a Mike Evans or even a Tyreek Hill or a CeeDee Lamb, but we'll kind of just sit back and see what happens. Obviously, in standard scoring, the most important thing is going to be touchdowns. So don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of players who perform well in a PPR scoring format who will still offer some stability and some value overall in a standard scoring format, but obviously some of those guys just aren't going to bring the same amount of points to your squad on a weekly basis. So I think it's important to focus on the running back position a little bit earlier, and even the tight end and quarterback position, because at the end of the day, the receiving position is just going to be so incredibly deep in an 8-man scoring format that's not going to make as much of an impact for your roster. There's obviously still going to be a ton of value for going out and getting a strong receiver early. So I would like to do that within the second or third round. And don't get me wrong, if you can land a Justin Jefferson or a Cooper Kupp in the first round at the right price, then, well, they're still going to bring a ton of stability and a ton of scores to your roster throughout the season. So to finish up the first round, we saw JJ, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, and Stephon Diggs off the board, followed by Jamar Chase at 1.8. Moving into the second round, CMC goes at 2.9, a little bit later than we've seen him as of late. Mark Andrews gone at 2.10. Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, Joe Mixon, Deebo Samuel, and Tyreek Hill off the board. So looking at the receiver position, oh man, I'm just not in love with reaching for either of these guys. Let's look at, taking a look at tight end, I'm just not going to pass up Travis Kelce at this point in the draft. So we'll take Kelce off the board, and we'll look to the running back position. I really like Kamara here. I like James Conner. I like Leonard Fournette, and I like Nick Chubb. I think it's a toss-up between those couple of guys, but I'm going to go Kamara because I think he's too good to pass up on, even with a potential suspension looming. I think we can land enough good running backs later in this draft that is not going to hurt us. Plus, when you break down what Kamara did last season, came in as RB8 in PPR scoring formats. I know this is standard. He was still rated very high in standard scoring formats, still a top 10 running back in standard scoring last season, and he missed 4 games. So even if he misses 4 to 6 games with that looming suspension moving into 2022, I think he could easily be a top 10 running back moving into the 2022 fantasy football season. So I'm happy to take him there. And plus, behind the stability of Jonathan Taylor, I love that selection. So if I did go receiver over Travis Kelce, it probably would have been CeeDee Lamb or Mike Evans. I would probably lean towards Mike Evans. Don't forget in a standard scoring format, Mike Evans is going to hold a ton of value. I mean, this is one of your best receivers in a standard scoring format over the last 2 years or so. So I think at the 20th overall selection is a wonderful value to land Mike Evans. DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, James Conner, and Nick Chubb finish out the 3rd round. Cam Akers is gone. T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and DJ Moore. Plenty of players I like here. Saquon Barkley still hanging around. I'm going to take Mike Williams because I do think he offers that really nice upside overall. Looking at who's available, oh man, it's tough. It's really tough here. I'm going to take a chance tonight. I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. I don't mind Zeke there. I don't mind J.K. Dobbins or Josh Jacobs. The other guy who stood out to me is Josh Allen, just taking that high value at QB early. Does not hurt in an 8-man league because every single week you're going to be going against an elite quarterback. So Josh Allen does go at 36, but I'm willing to take that upside at running back and fill out our wide receiver 1 in Mike Williams, because I still think we can land a high round value at pick 48 and 49. So things moving pretty quickly here. Josh Jacobs, Scary Terry, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman gone. We're on the clock. Patty Mahomes, Breece Hall, Justin Herbert, George Kittle, Devin Singletary, Kyle Pitts, and Antonio Gibson gone. So let's take a look at the quarterback position. I would like to go ahead and snag a quarterback, and then we need to get some stability at the receiver position as well. There's a lot of good names here. I still believe in DK Metcalf and Deontay Johnson this season. I've got them very close in my personal rankings. I like Brandon Cooks here as well. I know that the quarterback situation is different for both Metcalf and Johnson, but I'll take a chance on Metcalf here just because he did have a very good season last year in terms of his red zone targets and his overall touchdowns. Looking at quarterback, it's tough here. It's really tough, but I'm going to go Lamar Jackson. I don't mind Kyler Murray there as well. I mean, I really don't mind any of those top-rated QBs. Kyler Murray, Prescott, Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Brady, Rodgers, Burrow, Wilson, whoever it is. But I'll take Jackson just because I think he offers the best rushing upside, which is going to offer a lot of upside within a standard scoring format as well. So looking at the roster so far, we got Lamar Jackson, JT, Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelce, Saquon Barkley. Receivers, the weakest part of this team, but still with Mike Williams and Metcalf, I think we're in a good position. Like I said, there's a lot of value in a standard scoring format to go out and get receivers that you believe in who score touchdowns early. But don't forget, especially in an 8-man draft, receiver is going to be the deepest position without a doubt. So as we move forward, we do want to identify receivers who are going to be red zone targets. So let's take a look here. I mean, I like the idea of taking a chance on Michael Thomas. I like Hunter Renfrow and Devonta Smith here. Let's take a look at QB. Oh, we could go for some upside at QB. Running backs at an interesting point in the draft, though. There are a lot of running backs that I like that are available. Looking at tight end, just in case. Oh, it's interesting. We could go for a second QB here. Definitely would be interesting. I'm going to go Devonta Smith just because I have a lot of personal conviction in him. And then the running back position is in a really interesting place. I really like the upside and the value of Travis Etienne here, but A.J. Dillon has been a guy all offseason who I just feel like I cannot pass on at a certain point. He is someone that I want on my fantasy rosters, and having him behind Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, and Saquon Barkley, even in an 8-man league, would make me ecstatic. So I'm happy to take A.J. Dillon there. And then as we move into these next final rounds, I will keep an eye on the quarterback position. If a guy like Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow is hanging around at the end of the 10th into the 11th round, I'm not going to pass them up. I think Kyler Murray will be gone by then, but we'll queue him up. Outside of that, we need to start to take a look at the receiver position. I like Drake London hanging around as a potential to have a lot of red zone targets, but he just got selected. I like DeAndre Hopkins. I think he would be a nice addition to this roster to offer some stability down the road once he comes back from serving that suspension. And then I like Russell Gage with a lot of upside in that Buccaneers offense as well. So I'll go ahead and queue up both those guys. I think they're both going to have lots of scoring opportunities throughout the season. The other guy I like here is Allen Robinson. I do think that he could turn into a nice little red zone target for Matthew Stafford as well. So I'll keep an eye on him. Outside of that, a couple running backs that I like. I like Tony Pollard quite a bit, regardless of scoring format at this point in the draft. And I like Melvin Gordon a lot. In terms of later round guys, Damon Pierce and Tyler Algier, two guys I like, although we might not have to select them in an 8-man league. All right, so we're on the clock here. Like I said, if Joe Burrow's available here. We're going to take him, and then I'll take Hopkins as well. Jalen Hurts just selected. I don't think you necessarily need to go with a double QB method at all in an 8-man league, but it doesn't hurt because, like I said, you're going to be going up against an elite quarterback more than likely on a weekly basis in an 8-man format. So I'll go ahead and I'll snag up Burrow, get that nice rushing upside from Lamar Jackson, get that incredible upside from just slinging the football all over the place in that Cincinnati Bengals offense from Joe Burrow. So I love this quarterback room. We're done at QB for the night. We're probably done at tight end for the night as well. I mean, in a standard scoring format, I would definitely consider targeting a Hunter Henry or a Dawson Knox in later rounds. I love both those guys, right, in terms of their red zone capability. So we'll go ahead and we'll queue them up. We'll keep an eye at the receiver position as well as some of these running backs. We're only going to be able to add 3 more players. So I think a nice mix of 1 more receiver, 1 more running back, 1 more tight end to finish things out would really make a nice squad overall. So I'll keep an eye on Tony Pollard here. I think he'd be a really nice pick, as I do think Russell Gage would be a really nice pick as well. I don't know if we're going to be able to land Gage, Pollard, and Henry or Knox, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think because we've got Travis Kelce in that position, it makes a little bit more sense. Let's go ahead and let's take Tony Pollard. So that's going to put us with JT, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, AJ Dillon, and Tony Pollard at the running back position. We could add 1 more running back in Melvin Gordon, which I wouldn't mind, but I'm going to go Russell Gage here. Get us another receiver who I think is going to find the red zone quite a bit in 2022, at least until Godwin comes back. But with the retirement of Gronk announced, I do think that Gage is in a really good position to start the first half of the season and throughout the entire season. I really think that Gage is going to be a nice fit within that offense. I think he's a really sneaky wide receiver to take in those later rounds. So looking at the receiver room, we got Mike Williams, Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Hopkins, and Gage. I think we hit at really good value throughout this draft at the receiver position while making this a little bit of a receiver light team, focusing on running back, QB, and tight end. All right. Moving into the 14th round, things going pretty quickly here. This draft was essentially full when I started, and I guess a couple people bounced out of here, but that's okay. So a couple tight ends here, so I'm a little nervous because I do think, yeah, Hunter Henry and Dawson Knox, the top queued players. So we'll see if they last. I would love to land one of those 2 guys because I think they're going to have incredible red zone share. If they both go, then I will go Melvin Gordon to finish out this draft, just because, like I said, running back going to be extremely vital to your overall roster in a standard scoring format. So we'll keep an eye on those 2 or those 3 players. I mean, Henry, Knox, Gordon, I really think the best available players, and Knox and Henry both off the board. Would have been nice to get, you know, just a tight end 2 behind Kelce. Not that we probably need them, but it won't necessarily hurt the roster. Could consider Robert Tonyan. I do think that he's going to have some opportunities to make up for some of those red zone targets that Devontae Adams is leaving. Pat Freiermuth would be a nice option as well. But I think overall the best selection here is Melvin Gordon to finish out a deep running back room as a whole. Then we need to go ahead and select a defense. So we'll just go ahead and we'll draft the Patriots defense just because they offer that extreme consistency on a yearly basis. I like the Colts defense there as well. The Saints, plenty of good names overall, but we'll go ahead and we'll land the Patriots, and then we'll draft a kicker. Could I argue that I should have gone kicker first? I could have got Justin Tucker, could have got our first kicker available, but you know, it'll be okay. So we'll still be able to land a good kicker at pick 128 to finish things out, and then we'll have another beautiful 2022 fantasy football mock draft in the books. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We would love to have you in one of our future subscriber mock drafts, and we put out free daily fantasy football content here at The Catch. And be sure to drop any comments, questions, concerns down below pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season. And of course, let me know what you guys thought of this draft overall. If you guys do play in an 8-man league, if you guys do play in a standard scoring format, let me know what you guys thought about this draft from beginning to end, and the final roster as well. All right, so we'll just go ahead and we'll select a kicker to finish things out. I mean, does it really matter? I'm not sure. You guys know that we got a lot of love for the kicker position here at The Catch, but we'll just go ahead. We'll take Ryan Suckup off the board and call it a night. All right, so looking at that running back room, looking at this roster one more time, we got JT, Kamara, Barkley, AJ Dillon, Tony Pollard, and Melvin Gordon. I think that's a beautiful running back room. Some nice committee options, some nice handcuff options, on the bench, but still, I think Pollard, Gordon, and Dillon are going to be very productive within their offenses. And you got Kamara and JT, and then that nice upside in Barkley. I think it's a really nice running back room. Tight end 1, we got Kelsey. Tried to land maybe a Hunter Henry or a Dawson Knox at the end, didn't quite make it, but I mean, we got Kelsey at tight end 1. We're going to be completely fine, right? Receiver, probably the weaker part of this team, but I still think we got really good value at the receiver position. Mike Williams, DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith, DeAndre Hopkins, and Russell Gage. I would be happy with that receiving room, even in an 8-man league moving into the season, as well as really getting that upside at tight end, QB, and running back. Speaking of QB, we got Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful quarterback room. We got that nice upside rushing capability in Lamar Jackson, that nice stability, but still really good upside, just throwing the rock all over the place in what's going to be an extremely electric offense with the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Landed the Patriots defense and Ryan Suckup, so nothing wrong there whatsoever. And overall, I think this was another great draft in the books. Like I said, guys, if you did enjoy the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're new, come join the Catch family on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you guys do play in a standard scoring format or in an 8-man format, let me know what you guys thought of this draft overall. And that'll do it for today's video. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here at the Catch.